Sure. That's on. We are on. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I am calling our city council meeting to order for this Tuesday, May 28th, 2024. We're going to go ahead and
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call here. I know Councilor Winther is on his way. Councilor Cuthbertson is also on her way. Councilor Lindner.
Here.
Councilor Wood.
Here.
Councilor Rich. Here. Councilor Knight. Here. Okay. We got a volunteer on the council for section 2 and 2.1.
Section 2, public items and comments. Please limit your comments to less than 3 minutes. 2.1, notes. The public comment period is designed to gain input from the public. Public comment is not intended to be a dialogue between the council, staff, and any person making a comment. Any person who raises a question during public comment should rest assured that the city staff is making a note of your question, and the council and staff will work together to identify the appropriate city official to follow up with you directly.
All right, we are now taking public comments. If you'd like to make public comment, you have 3 minutes. We will be timing you. We'll have you step up to the podium, tell us your name, and then go ahead and make the comment.
Can you hear me?
There's no speaker, but yeah, it's for the recording.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, it's for our minutes.
My name is R.E.A. Frankfurter. I reside at 25147 Coon Road. And I'd like to make a comment on what my understanding is, which I don't have full understanding, but my information is that there are concerns about the library, and there are concerns about the maintenance of the library and funding the library and so forth. My only input is to say, the library. I'd like the library, and don't sell it and don't get rid of it or anything like that. And I'm sure that there are resources that can be found within this community to find financing for whatever maintenance there is. When I walk and drive around, there are numerous support library signs. I'm sure these fine people can be called upon to do what's necessary to keep our library here in our town. That's all.
Thank you.
Come on. What's your name?
My name is Beverly Smith, and I live in Monroe. I just would like to review a few things from when the library was built. I was on the committee for fundraising, worked for 5 years, gathering all of the money together, the grants, etc. And the library cost $2.7 million, and it was no small feat coming up with that money to build the library. It took 5 years to fulfill the amount. It was all volunteers that did the fundraising and worked together to make this happen. The depot was to be used for and is used for meetings for the community. The funding came from the Oregon Community Development Block Grant, foundations, private donations, and fundraising to accumulate to make the $2.7 million. And I would just like to say, Mr. Administrator and council members, when you are making decisions about the community library, to please remember all of the South Benton County patrons that worked real hard to get the library built and to have its resources used for the community. It's a real gem for the city of Monroe and is beloved by hundreds of people. There were hundreds that donated money towards the funding of the library, and please consider everybody in the South Benton County. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much to the people who have spoken. It's important. My name is Sandy Hallinan, and I am a library user. I love the library, and I actively support the library. I suspect that's why several people are here, for that same reason, because we love the library. I'm also a member of the Monroe Community Library Legacy Fund. And in 5 short years, we have raised an amazing amount of money, which is specifically for the city to pay for long-term capital investments and maintenance in the library. When cities, counties, and other government entities have issues to address, the paramount concern, I think, is always should be the people. That's we, the people, and how we will be affected. We have a right to good services. We have a right to safe streets, good water, sanitary sewer, and good libraries. In Monroe, we've been very fortunate in the last several years to have a wonderful library with great services and that we can all be proud of. And that's an asset, not only to those who use it, but to the city of Monroe. It was therefore a concern to me when I attended the council meeting on a council work session on May 13th, and learned that the council had sent a letter to Corvallis Library Director in December saying they wished to negotiate terms, and if they could not come to agreement, that letter would be considered 6 months' notice to terminate the intergovernmental agreement as of June 30th. The library IGA is on the agenda tonight, and I'm wondering how that discussion will go. As I understand it, there is only one issue of concern about the current IGA. The city doesn't want full responsibility for paying for maintenance and custodial for the library building and grounds, and thinks that somebody else should pay. I also listened to a discussion about scheduling the library meeting rooms at that meeting, but I don't think that concern, it wasn't brought up as an IGA change or concern. Am I accurate in assuming that the maintenance and custodial is the only change the council wants to make in the IGA? Are there other issues the city wants to address? And if so, what are they? Finally, before making a decision about the IGA, I urge you to make sure you have all the information and you have considered all alternatives. I'd like to suggest that having a work session about this issue.
I'm sorry, Sandy. I need to go on.
I only have one more sentence.
Go right.
I'd like to suggest that having a work session about this issue in which the council and the library administration are talking directly with each other without intermediaries would be very, very helpful. That would ensure that everyone is talking about and hearing the same thing and is considering all repercussions. Let me be clear, terminating the agreement means that library services will be harmed. I hope that you realize that result is not in the interest of the people you serve. Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else would like to make a public comment?
Yes.
Come on in.
My name is Michelle Bovier Emmett, and I live in Monroe. I brought with me tonight a copy of my property taxes, which says that as a taxpayer, I am paying for the library. And all that it means when you say the city is paying for the library, it means the taxpayers are paying for the library. So as a taxpayer, I want you to know that I am very happy to be paying for my library. I believe that having a healthy library is like having a healthy person. It's far more expensive to be sick than it is to be healthy. And I think that our library serves our community health by providing a warm, dry, safe, nurturing space for anybody in this community to go to, spend as much time as they want when the library is open. It also provides wonderful programs for kids and for young people and older people who want to volunteer and feel like they're contributing to the community, can do so at the library. I think that there are a lot of other things that kids could be doing that would be a lot more costly for the city of Monroe than hanging out at the library. And I believe that people learn more at the library than just how to love books. They learn about anything they want, careers, about other places, about other people, about the other members of their community that they may not see in any other place. And it gives people an opportunity to truly become a community by being at the library. So I would ask you please to consider that our library is more than just a building, and it's more than just a collection of books. It's actually a part of the health of our community, and we want our community to stay healthy. Thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Jean Yates. I actually live in Alpine, but I use the Monroe Library. And I just wanted to say that I use it and I have attended numerous meetings in the community rooms. I think the community rooms aren't really suited to office space. I also wanted to say that one of the things about the library that is important is the impact it has on people wanting to buy houses here. I have spoken to friends who are realtors who say that that's something they can point at, that and that the Arts Center has two real assets that make them interested in, you know, building a house, buying a house. So it has repercussions through the community. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, going once. Going twice. We're done, sold, okay. All right, thank you very much for the public comments this evening. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our staff reports. And we have the sheriff online right now. There he is now.
Can you hear me all right?
You're a little quiet, but hold on a second.
Okay. I notice I'm a lot big, at least on my screen. I don't care for that at all. Not in the least. Look at my hair, my goodness. I can't seem to find a report for this month. Did you guys get one? All right. I wasn't certain. I was gone last week at the state sheriff's conference, and then we went into the long weekend, and I sat here and I was looking all through my stuff, and I thought maybe I was losing it. I'll talk to Jamie in the morning. I'll make sure that gets out to you. I apologize for that. I will say I did have the opportunity to participate in the Monroe Festival, and I had our Marine deputies down there. I saw county commissioners down there. I thought that was amazing. Well done. I did see the mayor giving tours on the trolley through town. That was awesome. But enough about that. I don't know what's happened to the screen. All I can see is me. But do you have any questions of the sheriff's office?
We can still hear you.
We can still hear you. We
I don't
can
know
see
if the
you.
video for some reason cut out, but.
We can hear you. We can see you. So.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Or have you heard anything, that pertaining to the speed limit change and stuff in town?
I have not. That would be through ODOT initially.
Yeah. Well, no, they changed the signs. I just didn't know if any of the sheriffs had.
I haven't been told, but I promise you that Sergeant Bressler, if it's been changed, is aware and has told his team.
Okay. Yeah, because they were in town today. Yeah, and that went into effect like 2 weeks ago now, I think.
Any other questions?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. That's fine. Well, I have a feeling this is going to be short this evening. Without this.
Well, I did see on the agenda that there was something a little further down here under old business with Steve, so I can hang out. I'm at the office doing some work, so that's no problem. I'll just sit here and listen and do a little work.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Steve, city administrator.
So,
my role has been budget and figuring all that out. You'll have a resolution this evening, to transfer some funds. We'll get into that. That's the next to last page there, or the last page. I think the biggest thing is, working, with, Mark, as you know, he's been, going through some family issues, and so I've been working with him to help, make sure that all the different things get done appropriately. Our schedule rotates tomorrow. We've got the south sign and the Reservoir Heights Park, online to mow. We've been working, the planning is going up a little bit. I'm working now with, Mr. Bounds and, and also on the Kelly Street project. They're both of those, that Mr. Bounds and Mr. Oaks, I should say. Both of those are getting ready to move forward. We had a very interesting time with Mr. Khan's property on First Street, with the sewer pipe, locating that. There was a break in the pipe on his side, but I think what we're going to do is negotiate, taking the city sewer on the far east side of his property and starting it there. So he can route his lines in his property without having to go through a lot of easements and everything else. That makes it the property owner's responsibility rather than the city's responsibility, for that line. The reason why that line was there to begin with is because it went underneath the city street at one time, and then it was vacated. So I think we've got that just about resolved, and the property line adjustment will go through. The next will be a conditional use permit to place a residential home on commercial property. So those of you within 250 feet, so that we'll have a land use period. I have, been talking with Pat Weingart in regards to our UGB, land swap. He's going to arrange some time with me in the next few weeks to talk to you specifically about some of the next steps with Benton County. Specifically, sheets that you met at the Joint Planning Commission. So start moving ahead on what that means. There's a lot of studies apparently. I was given also given a wetlands permit application for Pacific Northwest Development. That is Surge's property between 8th Street and 10th Street, over where Councilor Winter's place. And that is to begin the process of getting what they call a delineation and permit from Corps of Engineers to do the wetlands. And I think, as I mentioned, they'll be using, because of his wetlands that they're going to be moving and going over, they'll be using a corresponding amount of land from the Marys River Land Bank to compensate for that. So they'll be buying credits and applying it to this project. What that means is they're getting ready to put about 22 more units in there. So that's what that process is. So there's a lot of things moving and going into the works. I'm finalizing the mixer process this week for the water tank, and also working with Civil West Engineering on the upgrades for the water tank. So that can be applied and start that process of doing that. My hope was to get that into actually started and the money's started so that we could actually put it to the budget. In my spare time, I work in the budget. And moving along with that, I think we're at a point I have all that we wanted to do a biennial budget. And so I think I have everything moved over, and I'm just going back to the dollars, making sure that it's right. And now that festival is over, I have a lot of Don's time, so that's very helpful to get last minute questions taken care of. So that's my report as of now. We have a work session, a budget session, and a council session. We have a big lineup for sure, so I'm getting ready for all of this.
I think the mixer will be in time for summer.
Yes.
So when you're gonna put more water in the tank?
Yes.
That's fire.
Yeah, well, we're actually putting 17, right now, putting, for Memorial Day weekend, I put 20.1 feet. We used about 6 feet of that. So that's about 180,000 gallons for the 3-day weekend. This cool weather is helping us quite a bit. But I'm projecting, the projection is to have a warm, dry summer
after this one. And, but nothing wild. In other words, no extreme temperatures. But it will be dry all the way, 3 months of dry weather. Which I guess we like dry weather, that's good. You like it like I like it right now? That's even better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we got the consent agenda. So the following items are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. If any item involves a potential conflict of interest, council members should so note before adoption of the consent agenda. The motion to accept the consent agenda is approved.
Yes, in our bets.
And you said that there's actually funds still there for if we want to do an extra
For the water,
payment.
for the water
interest
bond.
earnings.
Right,
Yeah.
so the one here, the 145,000 is the big one. That's the actual bond that we paid through, it says County Trust.
Yeah.
You know, but I told you that when I first saw that 3 years ago, I thought it was a scam, but that's really what the company is. That is. Then the $30,193 payment, which is due in September of each year. That's the one that we're actually accumulating a little bit more. We can make a decision. And so Ron's gonna show him what that means, plus the amortization schedule that we choose to make additional payment.
Great.
I'm gonna ask it, probably dumb question.
Oh, no, not in finance.
I just noticed, I think, that we pay City of Harrisburg separate from Chuck.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
So we pay.
I don't know why that didn't connect with me before, but today.
Yes,
Okay.
the city of Harrisburg was gracious to allow us for a limited period of time, and it's gone a while now, to pay $500 a month for water DRC services. However, they felt that if Chuck wanted to be the DRC for our system for waste, that he would need to do that on his own. He does do that for several other systems.
Right.
So not just us.
I don't know why I didn't catch that before, but I just saw that. So it was like, oh, okay.
I'll make a motion that we pass the consent agenda, approve the minutes and pay the bills.
Second. I'll second that. Thank you. Comments, questions? Okay, so I'm gonna give them a couple minutes. Are there any comments or questions? No pressure.
I don't have any question. I did.
Councilor Rich, Councilor Myers?
Yes.
Okay, we're not voting yet. We're not voting yet. Sorry, just checking.
Making sure there's no
Oh,
question.
thank you. I'm good.
Yes, no questions. Yeah, we're good.
Let's go. Councilor Lindner.
Yes.
Councilor Williams.
Yes.
Councilor Hutchinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rich.
Yes.
And Councilor Myers.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. New business, so we've got resolution 2024-07, transfer of funds.
So if you go to your next to last page. What this is essentially, we talked about Springbrook licenses that were paid in this fiscal cycle and not last fiscal cycle because of all emails and all sorts of things. But bottom line is we paid it, and we want to make sure that we're not carrying that forward. The law enforcement contract, same way, it's just a carry forward, there's no difference, it's just that it kept getting carried forward in the next fiscal cycle, and we've corrected that, but I want to go into the next fiscal cycle without having reductions in our cash, I want it all clear. And the planning contract was packed debits, and we did not get that invoice until into this fiscal year. So I'm clearing that off our books too, and how we're paying for it is by, we did not hire an administrative assistant this year. And as you know, we did not have a full, we only had 6 weeks of our utility worker. So we're taking those funds essentially, and we're using those to transfer into general administration, so that we basically can have a balanced set of books. It still leaves enough money in all the other, let's make sure that our funds are not overspent.
Okay, so these are all wages that were
It's-
originally
And taxes. that-
allocated to pay
Those two, yeah, right.
employees.
That we only hired one for 6 weeks and the other we hired. But
Make a motion to pass resolution 2024-07. Resolution transferring funds from within the general fund for the 2023-2024 budget.
Maybe a second.
I'll second.
Any questions for Steve? We're ready to vote. Councilor Myers.
Yes.
Councilor Rich.
Yes.
Councilor Pepperson.
Yes.
Councilor Williams.
Yes.
And Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a recommendation from the Public Works Advisory Committee. This is pedestrian signs on commercial main and Keller streets. Councilor Pepperson. Just looks at me.
We had some, the Public Works Committee, heard, I guess, some issues with people calling in and saying that, folks going up Main Street, and I think Kelly and commercial as well, which it is going up right, either coming up or going down, going a little bit too fast. And they were concerned about the children and pedestrians that utilize our roads. As you know, most of those do not have sidewalks, in using the roadway. And so they thought that it would be appropriate for the city to put up signage that might say slow pedestrians, slow children, or just slow it down. And the committee voted and thought that was a good recommendation for council. As you're aware, all signage, once it's been recommended, needs to be approved by or city staff.
There's no speed limits signs. I mean, I know residential in general is just automatically
25
25,
miles,
but there's no posted speed limit.
there is no closest speed limit. And that is another option too, is put a closest speed limit.
That's where it's all.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but
They're kind of short spans as well, what makes it a little difficult, you know, I mean, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, like, for me, I think about how, like, ODOT doesn't want a certain amount of signs within a certain area and stuff like that, so, but, gosh, I feel like we need, you know, I'm with everybody else, and that we need to do something, I just don't.
ODOT
Yeah.
doesn't say what you have to do inside your
Right.
town. If you wish to post,
Yeah, that's
say
only
it.
on 99.
Right.
So if you
Exactly.
say you want to get Sixth and each of these streets on Sixth Street,
Right.
20 miles an hour going that direction, you certainly could do that.
If we had signs up, would they be codified then? Would it be
Yes.
easier for police officers?
Yes, because your code already recognizes
Okay.
and adopts that folks have to obey whatever signage you put up. That's the reason why you actually approve it. It's because once you approve it, it then is adopted because we adopted the ORSs.
Great. I support that.
I mean, if it's implied that the speed limit is what it is, I mean, maybe the slower, I don't know, what are some options on the,
You can say just slow, a yellow triangle sign that says slow. You can say slow children and pedestrians, there are signs that have a person walking that says slow, no pedestrians, is a caution. Those kind of things, I think, remind people that that's happening. It also, I think, helps reduce the liability of the city, because you've identified that, you know, people, it's a multi-use street, just like it is anywhere.
I've seen where it's pedestrian. roadway.
Could we
Yeah,
also have signs that say 25 miles per hour? Is that strictly an ODOT thing?
Those are co-op streets, so we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Yeah, we can put
Small towns
whatever,
don't have their own.
we can put whatever we want on these.
Okay.
It just has to, we can recommend it as a. And then you guys can decide, you know, what goes on from there. So,
What the committee wanted was something to notify people that they need to be slow, that they need to be cautious. I think that was the gist of
it
it.
really is, because there's just been so many complaints we've got. And it's probably, it's most likely serial offenders that maybe live in the neighborhood or whatever, but something that gives a little more, you know, teeth to let's not be running up and down when we've got our, you know, people working or children or people walking.
There are a lot of kids who say a lot. I mean,
Yes, yes.
And there's even folks that have their dogs walk their owners.
Do they get walked or do they get tracked?
So you need a resolution.
Basically, I think what I heard was there's two different ideas. One is some sort of cautionary sign, you know, the triangle yellow that says something like slow or slow pedestrian with the person. The other would be actually imposing a different speed limit than 20. 25 miles an hour is the de facto in residential areas. You don't have to post a sign. It is already supposed to be that. But if you post something lower than that, then you are certainly sending a clear message that if you're going faster than 20 miles an hour, and it's repeated, then we might ask the sheriff's deputy at some point in time to sit up in the residential areas and find out what's going on.
And I'm not necessarily proposing lower than 25. I just wonder if a lot of people who live in town don't know that it's 25. Like, that's just the standard.
I think it's a handful of people, if that. I noticed a lot of folks crawl up and down the roads. And if I go faster than 15 miles an hour, and I try very hard to go between 10 and 15, people notice and will tell me to slow down. Because I do traverse the town regularly, but I try to go very slow when I do that. Particularly in a bigger rig. Bigger rigs tend to be noticed more, so. And I think there are some younger folks that I noticed come down the hillside a little faster than they should. Just they are in my neighborhood in Corvallis. My wife's up there telling me so.
So do we make a, like, do one of us make a recommendation to? Sorry.
Decide, I guess, what kind of signage you want.
Yeah, is that what's next? We
Yes,
have to decide.
decide the kind of signage we would like. What's appropriate?
Well, the thing is if we put up caution children present or people on the roadway, are we gonna have to put up speed signs later? I mean,
Yeah.
what's gonna be the more efficient way to do
Could
this?
you have a post with a triangle that says slow or speed sign below it?
You could, but, you know, you can go the whole hog and do it all at once. I mean, we're having 3 signs.
You could put a sign up that says, you know, pedestrian slow, children, and then you can even put it like another sign below that, that puts an advisory speed limit.
I think we could just do the cautionary, because if we're gonna do any other speed, then you're not just, then you're talking about a separate resolution or ordinance to lower the actual speed limit below the state guidelines.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you
I
have
don't
to,
think-
you don't have to abide necessarily, but within the city limits, you're pretty much free and clear. You can set 5 miles an hour if you want to.
Right, but you would do that by something that would go into our modified law, right?
No,
Or
because-
below the,
Because we already adopted saying that people have to obey our signage.
So you're saying basically.
Whatever we
put it law,
Yeah.
the signs say it.
The only issue I see if we put speed signs is they'll complain that we don't have those signs on other roads.
That would be the other thing. Why haven't we posted those throughout the entire town? And that's where it is in most towns, like say in my neighborhood, where you don't dare go faster than 15 miles an hour, but it's a 25 mile, it's posted 25. We've had tried to get city providers to change it, but for Councilor Myers' reasoning, they would say there's too many neighborhoods that require 15.
I think that also, like if it's posted, then the police department can help enforce.
Yeah, that's a big.
But if it's not, we just say slow children, you're gonna hope that people are gonna slow down, but it may not slow down the ones that were looking to slow down. So I think that that's, I mean, that's where it's really hard trying to figure out kind of what to do, but
It is, yeah.
it's hard because you recognize that there's a problem.
A number is quantitative and, as you said earlier, has teeth. It's like, were you going over 20 or not? And it's like, yes or no, it's a binary thing. And if you were, then, I think if there's a way to combine, as you said, like a recommended speed or an advisory speed with the why behind it, children. Like, I think that you could have it succinctly included on one sign. And that way you're addressing the
Over
fields as well as the
Yeah,
number.
you can do that.
A speed sign with children present type of thing.
Yeah.
slow children.
Well, we don't really have enough law enforcement coverage for them to be watching.
No, we have to put up on
residential streets and stuff, yeah.
Photo cameras.
Then you put speed
I was
humps on
just
the
gonna
road.
ask,
No.
do anybody know how much the signs
That's why
are
I'm
in
asking
town?
how
We
many
afford it.
signs. You don't need radar, the old way is put a line on the road, put a line here, and it takes so many seconds to go there.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That's how they do it in Starting, and you see those little lines and things on the road, they're there for a reason.
The chevrons, yeah.
So the aircraft can time it.
So we're talking a speed limit sign with children present underneath, okay. How many of them? All three signs or the children present on just the ends?
I think one sign that says children present and the speed, or like.
Well, I know, but aren't we putting up three different signs?
Yeah,
One for each street?
They were going with.
So we could do, we were thinking of doing Kelly, that has the most, a lot of kids on it.
Yes, it
And
is.
then, Main Street, which also starting to have a lot of kids up and down. And then commercial just because.
Well, the hill, people love to fly.
Right,
up
they
the
live up
hill.
the
And
hill.
there are a lot of kids.
That's,
Right.
And that, now those are our only ones that are through from the highway to,
The east
correct?
are, right, those are
So,
full
It it could
east-west.
be, yeah, posted.
we already have
before you-
signs on Orchard. Cause that one's like the worst, because they come down from all the way from the hill.
There's a
That's
one
a
But
full
that's
highway.
not.
There's a sign
our-
that-
That's
there's
not
a-
our
There's
jurisdiction.
a sign just before you get to the corner that says 25.
And that's county. And,
Well, it's a county road.
we have opened some communication with the county on, they
Cause that
understand.
road's
that
always
too.
been
One of the worst.
Yeah.
There used to be one down by the
I usually
apartments. That one.
keep my kids to this side of
The,
town away from Orchard.
the current idea is perhaps, that has been floated, is put a stop sign at 10th Street.
Oh, yeah, that would work.
Yeah, so you have to, regardless of what direction you're going, you have to stop. There'd be crosswalks there as well.
And it would make it safer for people coming out of.
Right, the kids, too.
Correct.
Might have a few truck drivers in there, but.
And probably several others that,
Yeah.
but they have to, the stop signs there.
My ears are burning about 25.
Yeah, we've already stepped in it with that. If we're gonna do it, we might as well just.
I would think, well, you'd have to have sided signs, because they have to go in both ways, right? And would we just have one post with a sign facing both directions, or?
Well, it would be on the right side of the street, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like
you
you
have
would
to have
see it.
one.
Right side of the street, and I think what I would do is probably now, at this point, there's the MUT. See? I love the name. It's basically the guidebook that everyone uses to place signs, stripes, lines nationwide. Oregon has its own supplement to that, that changes a few things, but basically it's the guidebook for where you put signs, how far above the ground the sign, bottom of the sign needs to be, different kinds of signs, etc. So what I would do is take your your recommendation, your vote, you say, this is, we need to either have a speed zone or whatever, and then work out what that means in terms of the Mud City. And what we would do is actually talk to like that county, that their public works folks to,
Will they make the signs?
and they can make the signs and do the whole thing, and it's a lot cheaper than buying. From
So do,
Go ahead, no, I'm sorry.
so do we need to do 6, like one coming and one going? Is that how that goes then?
I think that typically what happens is you have it on your wherever you're gonna start enforcing that speed zone, and then coming down the hill from the opposite side, you have the same thing. And then probably in from the Orchard Street sides as well, so you're entering areas that this is speed reduced.
Agreed.
Somebody have a succinct motion that encapsulates all that?
How about children present 20? Or slow.
We want it lower.
I think we could go lower than 25. Or.
Right
Children
now,
present.
right now, from just my observation going around, most folks go between 20 and 25 miles. Most folks are fairly, I mean, even on the main drag on Fifth Street, people are slowing down to 25. It did not hurt today to have one of the deputies tailing everybody to make sure that you are coming in at 25. But for the most part, folks are trying very hard to do that. It's just that we do have a handful of folks, and sometimes it's contractors and others, not necessarily residents.
Right, people who
Folks
don't
that
know.
are coming in, they just don't know, they think it's 25 or maybe 30, and they don't see any bodies, they go a little faster, and you don't see that little kid,
Right.
and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
It's
Get
not,
burned out, right, yeah, they're moving.
yeah, and they run out and they, it's like, always try to look under the cars to see little feet or balls that are moving.
But we've got 25.
20, or,
We have 25 on the highway right now,
right, and 25 on Orchard.
right?
And so the question is, do you want to lower that to 20? And it's de facto, it's considered
Right.
standard for 25 right now, without any signage whatsoever. So one idea would be simply to put up some warning signs, saying slow children or something that, playing or whatever, and warn people that this is happening throughout town and to be aware of it as a visual sign. The other would be to do 20 miles an hour and to slow everyone down, or a combination of them.
Well, no, even at 20 miles an hour, the survival rate is very good.
Not with a 4,000-pound expedition or something like that.
Yeah. Even a motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's only like 50-50. It's 80% when you get down to 10,000.
25 is actually pretty fast.
Yeah. If you're not sure, do we want to move it to the work session to discuss further and then pass it that next?
Well, we could ask, how about, could you price out some options for us?
Or just signs, or just with the normal signs?
Well, I'm thinking even from stop signs at 10th Street on Orchard.
Oh, that I would have to have the county, but they're about $30 apiece.
$30.
Yeah. County charges around $30. Sometimes if it's really large, a little bit more, but your typical, your stop sign costs $30.
And then how about the other ones?
If we could, $30 for a caution sign.
Is that putting in the post and everything?
That's for the sign. The posts themselves cost about $25. So you're looking at about $55 a sign, not including staff time to put it in, but, that doesn't take very long.
I'm not opposed to going down to 20. I just think for consistency's sake, it would be nice to have 25 all throughout, the main roads in town, but I mean, if you're just.
We could remind them
I'm good
again
with
with the
25
25 and, Well, that's why I'm good with just the warning stuff, because we can always add the 25 later. We can always add or change the speed limit later.
I think people are just sign blind to those, those warning signs, though. I just don't think that they are as impactful as speed limit on there, and perhaps the speed limit would be, people might indicate, or they might think that it would be more enforceable as well.
Yeah,
That's just my thought.
I'm good with 25 also. I just think that having a number on there is
I do too.
Like children present 25 miles per hour for NPH.
Oh, we had 25 and then a sign below it, like, you go into Corvallis, when you go by the, was it Allison School?
Yeah.
And it says when, the speed has to drop to 20 when the children
For
are
children
present.
present. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that's specific to Lincoln schools hours.
Well, there's one on Circle and there's one on 99, and they both have those signs. And if you go out on Fury Road, no, Colbert Road, there's a church school out there that also does the signs. And it doesn't say about school hours, there, it just says when they're present.
Okay. Yeah, because the one in South Corvallis is from Monday
Yes,
through
the
Friday, 7 to
school
3.
hours.
Right, it is school,
Yeah.
hours, and those are basically school zone signage approved, ODOT school.
Crew build-out, yeah, but I think the one at Lincoln on Circle actually has flashing lights that they can.
They do have flashing.
Sound like ours.
But I think too, I don't think we want to leave anything for debate, so either leave it 25 or 20. But I worry about that when children are present. I mean, how do you even know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
how
and you're
do
looking for children,
you know
and
what I'm
you should
saying?
just-
It's
yeah.
like that could be arguable, so.
We're going to 25 and 20 and children are present.
I think maybe this is a work session topic, because I feel like there's a lot more to discuss.
So no,
But
if you go into Coburg, you'll see that sign right by the fire department. They have a sign that says, speed when the children are present.
yeah, I've seen those before and they make sense, but I think it's hard to know when children are present because they can pop out from anywhere.
Yeah. But I mean, at least it gives you something to enforce.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move this to the work session.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we got one more to talk about on signs, guys. The next agenda item, parallel parking signs on Dragon Drive. This is another recommendation from the Public Works Department.
So generally speaking, our parking is supposed to be parallel in town. Everywhere. Over on Dragon Drive, there by the school, we've got just in a bad habit of head in or back in parking there. It's very hard with the congestion, with buses leaving and whatnot. It's just, to me, it's really scary. Like, I think it's like a recipe for disaster personally, but that's just me personally. And then also we've got a brand new sidewalk that went in there that people kind of back onto sometimes, or they'll back up too much, and the trailer hitches in the way. So it really renders the sidewalk not usable for those that are trying to traverse it. And so,
On the fire department.
fire department needs to be able to get in and out as well. And it just really necks down that traffic. through
This is the
there.
one next to the church.
Yes.
where they put the new sidewalk in over there.
Yeah, so doing parallel parking would make a big difference there, I think. And I know it's gonna be a change and people aren't gonna like it. I get that, but they also have plenty of parking in the back. People just park there merely for convenience. I know I did. But, I didn't know any different when I was doing it with my kids, because it's been done for a really long time.
When there was no
So-
sidewalk there too.
Yeah.
there was-
Correct.
There, you could be a little bit further in and not on
Right.
the road.
Right,
It would make
so-
the sidewalk more usable and accessible too, because you wouldn't have trailer like tow hitches. running into it.
Exactly, yeah, and so it makes it really difficult. So anyway, we determined that we should probably address that as one of our parking areas first because of safety issues and whatnot with it. Steve, do you remember the numbers on if you head in park or you parallel park and how many spaces we lose or whatever there? Do you remember what that was?
Yes, right now, approximately, on average, 14 people park along there heading. You would lose 3. So it'd be 11.
So it
And
still
that
gives
includes,
11 spaces.
that includes keeping the distance from the fire hydrant that's closer and also away from the sidewalk entrance, the side entrance there to the village church. So about 11 cars.
I'm not doubting, I'm just, how does that math work? I mean, are like, like, I'm like, how does the math work? I was expecting to lose at least half of them.
Well,
They were always angled and not
Oh.
necessarily,
Oh.
pulled straight.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that too,
I
because
can't-
when we, in Junction City, we went from parallel to parking, so you backed out on the street and back to parallel. And the businesses were like, we're not taking this many people. It's amazing that you don't really lose that many. I was shocked by it too.
And they have the back parking lot.
Yeah, and they have parking, and
Okay.
they're supposed to have enough parking for the school and all the people. It's not, and typically is not all used in a day anyway. So it's just either out of habit or convenience or whether people are actually using that spot. So it probably won't be popular,
Yeah, I have another question about this, I'm sorry.
but
The church, congregation, members of the congregation put that sidewalk down on their own, right? They paid for it. So are they going to have concerns over their church members being able to, like, not having as much
They have
parking?
a parking lot.
they have a park.
Oh, that's right.
Their-
They have one. That's right.
Their biggest concern, and this is more why it came to light, is when they put it in, they're like, is the city gonna continue to let people just park on our sidewalk and ruin our sidewalk that we just spent a lot of money putting in?
So they would support parallel parking.
So they would support parallel.
Too bad, we have to put parking curbs in,
Right, because,
which would block more of the road.
right, and to be honest, if you think about it, ADA compliance.
Yeah.
It should be taken care of anyway, so, I mean, there's a lot of issues with it, so, it just would be, it would solve a lot of problems.
Sheriff and Arsto's with Sheriff. While you were talking, he also had this as his comment.
Nice.
So thank you, Sharon.
That's awesome.
I will copy that and put it into the work session for you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. So coming back to parallel parking. What do you think? You ready for a motion?
Yeah.
I thought we decided this a long time ago, honestly.
Well, no,
I'd
I
like
thought
to make a
we
motion.
talked about when we talked about getting the sidewalk put in the first place, because of
We did,
because the street wasn't wide enough.
We
to
did, but
support-
then what we did is we had to get a parking ordinance.
right,
Oh,
And
and
then
now
we,
we
and then we had
and now
to,
we're
then
circling.
we had an advisory committee, and so
Right.
we finally have circled.
So now it's coming back.
Hopefully,
Because
Elaine,
well,
all of that.
I wanted to try to hurry and do it, because school's getting ready to end, so I was kind of hoping that we could get it so that they'd be kind of warned for beginning next
Yeah.
year, that things are gonna change, it might be kind of a better,
Yeah.
anyway,
better timing.
trying to do the best timing we can for it, so.
I'll make a motion to put in parallel parking signs on Dragon Drive.
Any other comments?
Thank you, Public Works Committee.
You ready to vote? Councilor Mike?
Yes.
Councilor Rich?
Yes.
Councilor Pepper?
Yes.
Councilor Williams?
Yes.
And Councilor-
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is something I threw on there. A couple years ago, we did a movie night. It was here in the community center. I know Steve and I, we talked a little bit in that time frame about doing it with City Park. And I know a little number of people on social media were kind of into that. You just have to pick a day with it, right? Which, you know, sure, that's easy. Anyway, do it in August, I guess. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it, if you have any concerns.
Only concern I can think of, I don't have it personally, but noise, August, how late are you gonna have to be to start the movie?
You know, I'm sure about
Yeah,
that.
and so how loud is it gonna be? Have a nap party? So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is probably, yeah, a little bit fun.
so, I mean, so have to make sure that,
Mhm.
I don't think the sound would come this way too much because of the trees, but I'm thinking there's a few farm that I don't know. But something as a nice neighbor, we should check it. But other than that, I think it's a great idea. I kind of miss the movies.
Yes.
I was thinking about putting a survey up for everyone online to take.
How do we fund it? Or,
Well, we have some money that we can do sponsors. Spot on that, yeah.
food trucks or somebody that has popcorn? maybe?
Yeah, you do have a city event reserve.
Mhm.
For the accumulated GIP money. But with that, there have to be a resolution.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and I'll put a survey together. Available online. Everyone, public, everything.
How are the lagoons at that time of year during the summer?
So, July
The walls.
into mid-August is generally pretty good. Late August to mid-September, you know, you get the north winds, and that's where you get the worst.
Yeah.
From on number one, so.
Perfect, we had that.
bridge we were talking about.
Well, in this year, however, one of the things that we had to repair, we lost our pump for the recirculate. If we can recirculate water from 3 to 1, that solves that problem. Yeah, so we'll be doing that this year. That's part of our budget, part of our.
I would think you'd have to have some warning signs along the highway there, because it could be some foot traffic, kids running. Yeah, change the speed limit to. No, it should be 45 on 5 out. Beyond our park, at least.
Let's see what I can put in.
I go for the greenies. Maybe not totally childhood.
I do understand. That'll be, we'll put that on.
That's the weight thing.
All right, thank you. Going to old business now. So we are at 6.1 library IGA and an update.
All right, so, just to note, that the council in your minutes today, there was, and now that they're approved, I will have them posted online. There are very extensive minutes of, Library Director Chavez's presentation to you last month, along with your questions, and answers to that. So I thought, I did a little bit more than just a summary, but those I wanted to capture, set. So I think it's actually quite interesting and quite informative, with what is being talked about. On the very last page that I presented here, these are, says options for Monroe Library IGA negotiations. This is directly from Library Director Chavez. And I decided that she gave this thing, she has been off for medical purposes, and so she wanted to make sure that we have this, and I said I could provide that just for your reading and opportunity tonight. So basically, she has of the options here. The first option was to begin a stakeholder conversation about changing the structure, actually the entire system. As we learned last time, the taxpayer dollars that go into this goes into the library system. It doesn't go specifically to a library or a branch. It goes into the Corvallis library system, which is then used to fund the 3 branches, the main library, the whole, book delivery, the whole thing. And so we also learned that the IGAs are different for each of the branch offices. It's the same for performance is different than those, and both are different from all Cs. So, which makes a bit of sense because one size does not always fit all. So that was the one thing, was to actually have a wider conversation. The second one was still engaging in the love conversation. The immediate cost of Monroe Community Library may exceed the budget available to the city of Monroe. The service district could take on oversight and costs of janitorial and utilities, basically absorbed by making cuts, basically, or do more fundraising. So these are things that the library director and I have talked about as potential options. I'm not sure that number 3 is an option for us. I don't think that's something that we wish to give up the building. The council has made it very clear that they want the library. Number 4 is more intriguing. This is a result of several conversations that have occurred between the mayor and our commissioners, and also back conversations in the city of Corvallis. So the city of Corvallis has heard very loud and clear that there are some concerns here. They see it not just with Monroe, but they see it as an entire library. They look at their whole system, by the way, as a system. It's not just us. We're just one cog in the larger wheel. But they are willing to explore the idea of including the Monroe Community Library contracted custodial services that they currently have with their health clinics, and including ours down here. So I'm going to see what that is. I think that's a nice option to explore. Because their
Basically
cost,
a cost share.
a cost share, right, which would be much better than us having. to come up with
Well, and we don't have enough to require a full-time staff member, but also.
Right.
Yeah.
But it also needs to have that level of cleaning, that's necessary. Now, the city would still, I think, do the deeper cleaning and that type of thing, with that, that's also required to maintain.
Yeah, but that's like quarterly and that's,
Or
we know that that's
semi-annual.
part of the, yeah,
Right,
but,
semi-annual.
but we know that's. Yeah, it's more that we figured that janitorial,
Right.
as they want it, is,
Right.
is operational.
And I'll simply add that additionally, the options in two, for additional fundraising of, other services, service cuts, but also help fund this. So, but, sorry, I just want to make
No,
sure.
I just was thinking of something, I was all planning, like, okay, well, that could be a thing, but now the problem there will lie in events that are happening in there. And where's that gonna fall still? So we still need to make sure that third piece, I'm just throwing that out there, that
No.
this does not
And-
cover that third piece.
And I do not think that the city of Monroe can get away from having a facilities and grounds person. It's just that if we have a half-time person, which is more affordable to us, than say a full-time person with all the benefits that go with that, fully burdened cost. If we could share that, say with Benton County, to do some of those daily activities to come in.
Right.
Do that on a schedule, then our staff would take care of the bigger things that we have contracted service for the biannual things, and that might, the combination of those would then help with the events and that type of thing, which we have not really discussed yet. I mean, to your
Right.
point,
Exactly,
To your
and I'm
point.
just saying that's kind of a third animal sitting out there that I'm not seeing addressed, so I just want to bring
Right.
that up, that
And-
that's a.
and that has been in our discussions.
Right.
There's the library, which has the books,
Mhm.
and everyone wants the library with the books.
Yeah.
And the professional folks that I had out to advise me said, your library proper, the one with the carpet in it, was actually not in bad shape. It didn't look to them as though it had a huge amount of use, foot traffic. The rest of the building though, yes. And that's what their concern was in terms of maintenance, was the meeting rooms, the common area. It's getting a lot of use, and a lot of that is from activities, from meetings, from activities. The library considers those activities integral, according to, as we heard, integral to their
Yeah, part of their
delivery
program.
of services. And so that is one of the fundamental things that we had to grapple with, is we don't have they're being used as they're needed to be used for library activities. And the city has to come in and behind that, clean it up regardless.
And we're
so-
not always notified of when those things are
No, we
happening.
are
either.
not.
We don't know when we're expecting.
No,
them.
we're just expected to come in and make sure we have the manpower and resources and supplies and materials to make it all and ready for the next day. And we've never, ever budgeted for that. They say we could ask the library staff to move the library to a different building. I don't think that's not really what I think anyone wants.
Yeah.
And then, of course, let them know as soon as possible if we really are, if we get to a point where we cannot work out something. My take right now is that everyone wants to work something out. I think there are some things that are longer term. I mean, what was originally proposed to me was a 2-year review of the system, but that would mean the city would have to come up with 2 years worth of funding to do that. So as we talked about in the budget, we're already proposing a $3 per person input for people that have a utility account in the road. $3 to subsidize the cost of the building maintenance. And that would not fall on anyone outside the city, but only people inside the city that have to pay that fee in order to balance our budget.
It would
So-
subsidize it for the entire staff of the county.
Right, and so that was the issue, and I think that was very well brought up by several councilors in the minutes, that it was a fundamental issue of equity. Yes, the taxes pay into this large system, but the system does not pay into our janitorial costs, which are directly related to library activities. And how does that work? And so we're trying to graph, that's fundamentally what everyone here is trying to grapple with, both with me putting the budget together and for you folks as policy.
Yeah, well, that's why we notified about the change to IGAs, because that's the process that was put in the IGA, is that basically we have to notify them and then we come to the table and discuss.
So what I will do is I think that the Benton County is a new one. Some of these have been discussed. I like the idea that the library director would like to have a larger meeting. I think that has been prompted also, I would say, Mr. Mayor can add maybe, that was prompted by the county as well, discussing the larger picture of the library system, how it might work more efficiently with everything. The idea that there might be some additional fundraising is intriguing too. Perhaps that would buy us all some time to perhaps extend an IGA and to pursue some other activities or other resources that are being proposed while we work this out, but with the clear understanding that there has to be some control over how, what the costs are involved. The city of Monroe cannot write a blank check for janitorial and custodial services.
This is the outcome, what is the takeaways from a meeting that you and Ashley Shaw as the director?
I would
had?
say that probably about 2/3 of this are probably a summarization of what we've talked about.
Okay,
I think there's another part of this that, because the mayor has also been talking,
right, understood.
okay, and so I think there have been, and myself, I've also have talked with my counterparts. I think there has been some pressure to review the whole system and come up with some, more strategic ideas. But also, I've made sure that in the discussions that all your ideas were incorporated,
Right.
that were at least discussed, so that those options can be brought to the table.
So what do next steps look like? What's the timeline on a conversation?
I think that immediately I need to talk to that county and see what their cost is. I think that's gonna play into that decision we have. We already have a $3 fee on the table in the budget committee. And that will be played out when folks think it should. I also have another conversation with Mr. Mark Shepherd. It's my now, again, the city of Corvallis says, the library budget alone is $10 million. Ours is $4 million. So their library alone is 2.5 times what the folks have already. But they still have the same constraints we have. They can't overspend their budget anymore than we can. And if they don't have it budgeted, then they're having to squeeze toothpaste, even if it's much larger, they still have to squeeze the same kind of toothpaste we do with ours. But I do know that they're very amenable to trying to look at this. That I think that the takeaway is that all the groups are wanting to work with each other on a solution.
Thank you.
Well, and if we need more time, we can extend it for
And that has been brought.
a period so that, because we're not looking to, none of us are looking to like cancel the IGA outright. That was basically just because that was what was
That's
required to,
That's what the IGA said we
Yeah.
had to do. Yes.
in order to renegotiate.
Yeah, in order to change any language in IGA, we had to terminate it before the end of the year.
Yeah, or or give notification.
And leave notification. I said, we did, I wish the IGA was written differently, but that's kind of the standard boilerplate that all IGAs have. Or most, I should say.
I have comments on this, but I don't know if I should wait until the council comments at the end, or if I should share this, I don't know when the appropriate time is for.
We're discussing it now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of go over what a few people have already said, but the library is important to everybody here in this room, including the counselors, including Steve, and he doesn't even live in Monroe.
Live in Corvallis.
Yeah. So I've worked at the OSU library for 2 years. I volunteered at my hometown flooding library in Milwaukee, Oregon, not Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Nobody wants to make the agreement with the city of Corvallis, and as Steve just said. But we do need to have a more equitable mechanism to handle the custodial maintenance of the library. And Sandy, I know that you're very involved with the legacy fund, and I know that there's a lot of money set aside. I didn't know that those funds could be used for something that wasn't like big projects, like roof or paint, or, you know what I mean, like non-maintenance, non-custodial things. So I'm interested to, sorry if that didn't make sense. I'm interested to hear what else those funds could be used for, because I was under the impression it's just for big projects, like every 10-year kind of stuff. What's that?
I'm pretty sure that's free cash.
Okay, so not for custodial.
No, no,
Okay.
capital improvements.
That was my understanding. Okay. So Monroe doesn't have the staff or money, as I'm sure everyone in this room probably knows by now. We have 3 full-time staff members, and is Ron a volunteer?
Ron's half-time.
He's half-time. So we have 3.5 staff members. We just don't have the staff or money to maintain a building that is used by a population greater than the city of Monroe. And that's why we requested to negotiate. Hopefully this conversation that we've been having tonight gives everybody who came in attendance today a better understanding of the struggles that we as a small town are facing. I think everyone here wants the library to exist. It's a beautiful building. I agree with what you shared about a library being a representation of health in the community. And we want to have nice things like a beautiful library, but we just don't have the resources. And I don't think it's fair to ask residents in only the city of Monroe to subsidize a facility and a service that more than Monroe is. So, at least not when we think that there are other options. The options that you spelled out are great, and I think number 4, like number 1 and number 4 are really excellent options. So I just want everyone to understand that we are also on the same side. We want the library, but we have to come to a more equitable agreement with the city of Corvallis. Nobody wants to terminate the contract. Thanks for letting me put in my piece.
Anybody else want to share?
Very well said. I will say that I do live in Corvallis, and I started attending the children's library, being read to by the age of 8. I had outdone their science fiction by about the age of 11, and to go upstairs and get permission from the director, library, the head librarian, and I had to prove my mettle to use the card system. Then I got to read all the science fiction books in the adult section, and even at Oregon State utilized it because it was much quieter than current. To study. So it's a beautiful library, and so is ours.
Yeah.
And I do know they spend a huge amount of money maintaining.
Yeah.
Director Shaw has just shook her head. So everyone's well aware of it. So it's really about how do we make it work.
Thank you. Let's go and move on. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, I don't understand. Post office is a good place after being all of it.
Today is that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're moving on to 6.2 short-term rentals. We have any sort of update on
That'll be in the ordinance.
that? Yeah, that's true. Next item is City Hall seismic report.
I think at this point, that's, it's gone from report to what do we do with City Hall?
Yes, pretty much.
So I think that's probably a good work session topic, unless you'd like to discuss options now.
I think a work session allows us to take into all the different options.
Yeah, and ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we have what, at least 5 or 6.
Right, and then how to pay for it or anything else we want to do.
We want to restate just quickly what that report said.
So what the report said was that we had the seismic engineer out of Corvallis come down and evaluate our building. The construction of the building is the terracotta brick. It's compromised by the fact that in 2003, the roof that's currently on there was placed directly over the old roof, which is an old flat slanted roof. And nothing was placed underneath to really reinforce it. So you have terracotta brick, which is very heavy, and supporting a much heavier roof. And because they didn't take down the old structure, we didn't have to put anything in place. And the assessment is that there's nothing that is feasible that can be done to that building to bring it up to seismic codes. So, is the building currently insured? Yes, it is. Is it something that in an earthquake, moderate earthquake or more, it's already cracked, we know that. It's settled on the south, the northeast side of the building, where I said.
Right under the roof. You can see
Yeah,
the
the whole
separation.
side of the building collapsed. You can see the crack and the brick is already separated, so there's no mortar joint on that side. I had to put a paper clip in there to see how far the building was separated. But when the water came back, the building came back together. That's when we spent the money that Graham showed you that. The engineer said that the building, they said the foundation at this point does appear to be in good shape. He says the cheapest way of doing anything is to remove the building. You know, if you want to save some of the brick, great, but otherwise build up a stick frame structure on it. So it's much lighter weight, much better for the zone. And seismically could be very easily remediated. So that's what his recommendation is. And that was nice because he signed it and also stamped it with his PE.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so.
Thank you. 11:35, project contract language.
So, Elliot Porter, our project manager, is getting the contract ready for going through their legal process. And then, so it can be sent to you. I've spoken with ODOT as well. ODOT is responsible for the bridge tower products that need to go in place. Just in high level, you know, looking at it from the, you know, when people look at things and say, yeah, we can do that, but looking at it, you know, initially at the, 20,000 foot level, 30,000 foot level, and then as you get closer and closer, things get scrutinized. At this point, in talking specifically with ODOT engineers, as long as the bridge design meets the scour, this is the rip wrap that around the piers to keep, the water from eroding at the piers out of the bridge. As long as it meets, the Corps of Engineers design meets their criteria, they have no problem taking over the maintenance. However, at this point, they will not give us a letter. They will not put anything in writing until they see the actual design. Right, they need to see the design. So verbally, I can tell you that they are endeavoring to take that over and make sure that the long-term maintenance of it, the cost of it will be in the up to 5. But overall, the issue for the city is long-term liability. There's also some questions that I have for Elliot in terms of cost overruns in the construction phase. Okay, so as it moves out into next fiscal cycle, they'll be in the design phase for about a year, for their entire fiscal year. This is where they put everything out in paper and they produce the habitat and restoration documents, they produce the bridge scour engineering documents, they produce the design, how the construction folks are going to come in and remove the dam. All that will be detailed by the Corps of Engineers. There'll be meetings, there'll be public comment, I think, but there'll at least be lots of people involved. Once the construction phase, once the contract is let, and you've got contractors on scene doing their stuff, there is a question about the cost of that. Who assumes the cost for any cost overruns? Elliott says, well, they've got lots of contingency in there because they have to. Okay, so there's a lot of extra money they put in there. Those of you that have been involved in construction, those the contractors also know there's lots of contingency in there too. So I'm waiting for him to let me know what that verbiage is going to be. In the original contract, the verbiage was they would be monitoring it and they could put a stop to whatever was going on. He said, yes, in the design phase we can. But once the contract actually been let, he has to go to his attorneys to find out what that.
So they can't leave it
Have,
half destroyed or half done project.
and with the contract was already perhaps committed
Yeah.
money to the project, so. I think any of you who've been involved in construction know that that's always the, you know, what meets the roads and those details, so. At the moment, that contract is being worked on by Elliott, Porter and the Corps of Engineers, attorneys, to be forwarded to us. As soon as we get it, we'll let you know. You may or may not have also heard that David Dietrich, who's, you've seen him many times, and has resigned from the long-term watershed council, and Jed Call, who you've also met, is now the project.
She resigned from the project or from the organization?
I believe from the organization,
Okay. Okay,
and there was no, and I don't have a reason.
yeah. Thank you.
So I'm waiting, and that's the update as of this moment, and I'm waiting for the actual legal documents.
So once you get the legal document, you probably send it to our council first, and then.
Right, or interpretation, and if necessary, I will have the attorney come here and explain it to you.
What does that timeframe look like?
I don't know.
Okay.
I thought that Elliot thought he might have that sooner than later, but attorneys work very quickly and very
Right.
slowly, so. I do know that he wanted to have all the documents in place, signed, in place, dotted T, no later than September 30th. And
Oh,
hopefully
okay,
a
so
lot, because that's the end of that,
their
that's what they
budget.
budgeted
Yeah,
for this
for
cycle.
sure, yeah,
And he was hoping to have it done last year.
okay.
You're welcome.
Oh. Shall we bring the sheriff back? He's been waiting, I'm sure, very anxious.
Oh, there he
is. So if we sorted out a date for the town hall.
I think the sheriff's, we should work calendar.
No.
If we're discussing the town hall, again, I mentioned it to my command staff at our management team meeting after the last one, and they were receptive. They think it's a great idea. I do as well. It's just a matter of coming down, ironing or putting some dates down. I was gone last week at the state conference, and so Steve and I just continue to kind of miss each other. But if everybody's still interested, I certainly am willing, and Steve and I can figure something out that'll work. I'm not sure what day you want to do it or how you want to do it. So I guess I'd leave that up to Steve and the council.
Want to do it on a Saturday? That's.
Yeah, that's okay. More involvement, we can get that.
Okay, so Saturday, sounds like a Saturday, okay. Sooner rather than later, we want to wait till the summertime. Just put the kids out of school. I feel like I'm whittling this down.
How about July?
How about July? I like July. What about you
How about
guys?
July?
6th of July.
No.
I'm out of town.
Well, I'll let you guys sort that out and just tell me give me a couple dates and I'll see what I can do with
Yeah,
regards to
no
getting staff there. I would love to have the division commanders there, but depending on the weekend day in July, if it interferes with the vacation, of course, I want my staff to be able to get some time off. So we can always find folks that can be there though.
Okay, great. We'll circle back with it. We'll see you along the way.
Perfect.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sticking around.
Yeah, you bet. Have a great night. If you need anything, you know where to find me.
Of course, thank you, sir. Okay, so I wanted to provide an update on the festival. So I know Councilor Linder, you were there, Councilor Williams was there. I know Councilor Myers was out of town. Okay, well, I know Steve was there.
I was there 4 times
You were there 4 times, that's why you won.
for this much time.
Okay. So, I know the festival is. The sheriff is not helping me. Anyway, I know the festival is a drain on city staff hours. And so I have talked to the festival planning committee, and we have a location, a private property owner in town is willing to have the festival on their property. So that will be a change for the next time. We're getting feedback from some folks that want to do it in October or the end of September. But it's not gonna be this year, okay? I'm festivaled out. All right. There's only so much festival for this man, okay? So I went ahead, we had, just before the city council meeting, we had a quick little festival planning meeting of sorts. And I gave them my feedback on it, and I'll just share it really quickly, and you guys can definitely chime in if you want. So I felt like we could have had more people there. It seemed like there was a steady stream of folks. So the committee is gonna do a deep dive and do more research on dates for the festival. We seem to have landed in May, so we're trying to figure out a May Saturday that will work, that doesn't coincide with the Rhodey Festival, because that's what happened with our festival this year.
I'm sorry, with which?
The Rhododendron Festival in Florence. It's in Florence. Yeah, so we had a hard time getting vendors and food trucks and other folks too. We've also talked briefly about regarding the barbecue competition. We're gonna sit down and talk to local folks. We had a group of about 20 folks that wanted to do it. And we got some initial feedback, but we didn't get enough feedback and they backed out. So we want to sit down and we want to get specifics from them and see if we get commitments for them to come. What do we need to do to make it enticing?
What were some of their comments or feedback?
So the original barbecue competition didn't involve plugging your grill in. So they didn't want to do truck. They wanted to be able to plug it in. They wanted to use a dryer. Okay, we'll do it easier. That's fine. Also, the cost of insurance, the need, and recycling our space. So in a private property setting, we can address the insurance piece. And the meat piece, we can work with sponsors, especially those that provide the meat. We're actually talking with the general manager of Long Timber, and maybe we could work with their protein line and see if they can help us. So there's some things that we're working at there. Also, I'm gonna put a survey up for this as well. Actually, the survey is up. It's on, the festival website is mbbqevent.org. And you can go ahead and you can fill out that survey online. But one of the things I also wanted to mention was I had to do a huge scramble to get volunteers. It was very painful. Optimus, they helped us in a huge pinch. I am so thankful for them. Oh my gosh. Susan Inman, she got us through it. So I'm so impressed and so happy. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't have had the I called it different people. So otherwise, yeah.
Thank you, Sir Optimus.
Yes, thank you very much. If we do a cruise again, I would like to coordinate with the Monroe Classic Car Show that's over at the Monroe Arts Association. When I finally connected with them, it was too late. I mean, we're talking weeks before. We need to connect with them months before and see if they're interested, if they want to do it. And if they want to do it on the highway, I can help them with the permit because I've done it. And I got it approved. So I think, we can have to work that out. We've already addressed the having a local business or property owner. We got someone that's willing to do that for us next time.
And they would take on the liability that might be.
Correct.
Great.
Correct, yeah. We also, in our budget, we had radio spots, and it was from Cricket Radio. And they gave us a really good deal on radio spots. They ran radio spots like twice an hour, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I think part of Friday. And that's $500, and they ran that every hour during a normal work day. That's a lot of radio spots. But I'm thinking that we also need to have something that people see. And we've got those feather banners, but they're starting to get a little worn. And I don't know that we might be able to get a year or two out of them. And we've talked about in the past about having some sort of digital reward in the community. I know the high school has one. but I'm finding it difficult to get anything on it. So, and I know the digital reader board is gonna cost money.
Yeah, well, it's, 99.
I would assume 99 somewhere.
So we have to get a host with.
Correct.
Well, we can put up our signs, so we have power in each of our elementary signs.
Oh, sure.
So I'm just throwing that out there. I think that'd be really helpful to have something like that. I mean, Harrisburg's got, it, you know, and I'm always like, Harrisburg's got one, why can't we? have one? I know, anyway.
We need to have a
Said he
big
has a
sale.
small one, too.
Yeah.
We've heard of money.
Money, what? I mean, that's pretty much what I talked to the festival planning committee about, those were my thoughts, having been in the trenches with it for months. But what do you guys, what kind of thoughts do you have?
So, I don't want, it's so tiny, I don't want to out the property first, but is it gonna be kind of sort of maybe close to downtownish area so that it's still, okay, that's awesome. And then B, I mean, that's a great idea. Might there be other places in downtown that would be interested in hopping on board and maybe hosting certain parts of it? Just thoughts. Just
Yeah,
throwing-
I think
Just
that's a
throwing
great
stuff
idea.
out, because that might be helpful.
We used to have, we had a Monroe Talent Festival down at the high school. I can't remember, I know the museum was involved, but I don't know if there was other groups. And then there was also a setup at the museum where they had a chili cook-off
Mhm.
and they had some violin players there.
Oh, fun.
So I mean, if we can get places like that all
To hop
involved,
on board,
so
Oh, yeah, but-
we're all symbiotic to each other. it would be really helpful.
be lots to do.
I like the chili cook-off idea. I mean, the barbecue is enticing, but I think it's cost prohibitive for a lot of people,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
A bit more enticing, but chili doesn't really make sense in May or June. But
Well,
It does in September.
It does in September, October though.
And also you can,
Frozen.
chili, like a chili cook-off is more inclusive of dietary restrictions, like a lot of people are vegan or vegetarian and don't
Yeah.
wanna eat meat, and so barbecue is not very.
Well, you have to be careful because there are some chilies that have.
But you can have
Well,
different entries.
right,
Yeah,
so
they
you have
can
vegan,
have-
vegetarian.
Chili, you can
normal.
have chili with beans, which is really chili to some people. You can have, you know,
Actually, yeah, the chili is the meat and the sauce, not the beans.
I know, but I like the big.
I think a chili cook-off sounds great.
That'd be fun.
You know, put in there pork pots, whatever you need.
Well, you know, have a crock pot or, you know, like, what was, it? Yeah, crock pot.
Mhm.
Dutch oven bake off. Who can make the
Oh,
best
yeah,
ham pie?
oven bake off would be
Cornbread.
fun.
Cornbread, yeah. So
You could get several
I
things
have
going.
like 5 or 6 of those things.
That sounds like fun.
What about
actually.
the fire department, which, be part of the chili?
They used to be one, yeah.
Have them burn something.
Oh, it is? I mean, come on. What else?
Well, there's a couple things we could still do, and I'm still after that Monroe's Got Talent thing.
Yeah, I got that done.
Well,
I'm surprised someone hasn't said.
I was thinking.
Oh, you were thinking.
He was
that.
thinking it.
Was that in December then?
No, I don't.
Before my time.
Yeah.
It was a little bit for
I think it was December 10th.
Maybe we could get that
They used to do
squirrel
that in
that can
spring
water
and
ski.
Hey,
Well, he was at the home show or
They
something.
got pretty big.
Oh, that's so
You wanna go
funny.
and make?
I don't think it's the same squirrel. I don't think it's the same squirrel that they had back in the 80s or whatever, but, yeah.
I think one of the takeaways from our festival was it would be nice, like a couple of years ago, we had a tent in the eating, drinking area, like that covered.
So there was a tent, we borrowed it, and one of the wineries acquired it.
Okay.
So that was supposed to go in the seating area, and they just kind of. They used it for their own.
Because it would anchor it, I think it would be an anchor point and
Yeah.
that would kind of be the key.
Yeah, the big tent is a lot of money, so that's why I.
Especially if you decide to do it in the late summer, it will be
Probably warm enough, and so having a place to
Yeah.
escape the sun. Really fun.
Yes.
They think of it.
How about a homebrew competition?
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
go.
yeah.
I'm down for that. But you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
ATF after us.
You're allowed to give away home brew. According to the LCC, yeah, you charge for it, they're gonna come after you.
But I mean, there's lots of places, I mean, even like the art association can have classes during that time, and they have like the cruise thing, but yeah, just lots of different things that could just draw for different reasons. Well, of course, yeah, the library, yeah, they always have something awesome going over there. Happening.
Well, yeah, but, yeah, like, if we, involve the whole town from park to the library or north, that would really help to get the whole city.
Ask Darren Marty, they do ice cream. I don't know. Copycat for us.
Anything else? There is, the survey is on the website.
That was very nice.
I wanted to, just say how lovely the trolley driver this year was again, last year, or the person before, May, fantastic.
It was very nice.
That was fun. That was. We had really, really great luck with that.
I was starting to lose my voice.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I was.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just say that my wife thoroughly enjoyed your festival. I thank you, compliment.
Well, you warned me about that.
That's true.
So that's when Lynn showed up at my wife's.
Yes.
Right. Well, she stashed her purchases. At my
She
wife's.
did.
She was hiding them
No,
for you.
she walked the entire town. She thoroughly enjoyed it. And she also heard that a lot of folks were very positive and enthusiastic.
All right, thank you all very much. All right, so we're on the second page here. So in section 7, I'm just going to go through the events that I have down at this point. So if there's any other events I'm missing that need to be on here, or that we need to put on Facebook, Instagram, definitely let me know. But so far we've got Christmas in July, that's July 20th. We've got the 4th annual First Responders Appreciation Event, that's September 14th. Senator Dick Anderson will be there. I invited him, he immediately said yes, so I'm very happy to have him join us. We've got the Halloween Spectacular at City Hall on Halloween. We've also, as we've done, I think this is the third or fourth year we've done, November, December, we'll do a Monroe Community Food Drive. So you can bring canned food to City Hall, I think Quality Vineyards. I remember who else is taking canned food down. I think maybe I'm possibly.
That's the Christmas store.
Yeah. Yeah. We got election day on November 5th. That's even a holiday. November 9th, tentative, and there might be folks in the room that might tell me otherwise. Alpine Holiday Festival, November 9th. You don't know, it's okay. I'm not putting it in the spot. I have it down as tentative. Because that's usually about, if it's the second weekend of November, that usually happens. December, the month of December, this will be the second year, because the last year was so successful in the Monroe Community Toy Drive. Oh my gosh, Dollar General, I think, Dawn over like, it seemed like almost every other day or two, she was there.
We were filling our,
Yeah.
we had to take them, so we were running out of room.
That's awesome.
And so Denise Cook was very successful. And then tentative again, December 14th. Again, it seems like forever from now. Holiday happenings and then great. And holiday happenings. And usually for the library, everybody celebrates for them. Well, like I said, if you have an event you want to share, let me know. You can send it to festivals and events.
Farmers Market.
Farmers Market. There you go.
Started last week. It's every Thursday. We're small but mighty. We're trying to keep it going.
I'm sorry, when does that go through?
Is it the first week? I think it's the first Thursday in October is our last one.
Fun.
The first Thursday. in October.
It's the last date, but yeah, we started last week.
And it's at the high school?
It's at the station 456, right there behind silos.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, thank you. Okay, committee reports. Well, budget, our next budget committee meeting is June 11th. We'll be here at 6 p.m. Economic development, we had to reschedule because of Darren Nichols' availability. But we are planning to meet on June 20th, no matter what. Finance and personnel,
So,
go ahead.
yeah, update on that. Steve and I are meeting, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday to review the city admin contract and, come up with suggested edits, tweaks to make it more Monroeified, and then we're gonna bring that to the HR personnel committee, which is yet to be scheduled. We wanted to have that done. We were gonna meet, a week ago, something came up, and then it's been hard to coordinate since then, but we've got a date and we'll have more information on that.
Is that just like a job description?
The job description and, agreement outlines benefits, like, it's just kind of like the whole employment agreement.
But rather than have the city administrator / manager in the personnel handbook. So
I
typically,
see. No, you're, yeah.
you typically have
Okay, yeah.
a separate
I see.
agreement with the
Right.
council, since it's a different arrangement than the city staff.
And it's coming, it's a template coming from the ICMA, which is the International City Manager
Association.
Association. Like, A makes sense, association.
Association, there you go. Okay, great, thank you. Ordinance committee meeting, that's June 12th, here at 6 p.m. Parks, June 27th, also here at 6 p.m. Public Works, I think we just need to set that up at some point.
Agree on something?
No, we didn't. That's it. Circle back. The next city council work session is June 10th. Again, here at 6 p.m. So we're down to council comments.
Well, the budget committee meeting on June 11th, I will be driving back from a wedding in Utah, so I'm unlikely to be here. Yes,
You're gonna miss all the fun.
work session.
Well, we're gonna have pizza, we're gonna have all kinds of stuff.
Councilor Williams is bringing treats, I heard. Just kidding.
It's my love language, it's how I de-stress.
All right. Any other council?
I'd like to say thank you to the community for such a great turnout. Lots of people showed up tonight. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'm sorry, I missed the road fest, but it's probably more fun than I had.
I didn't say the-
Yeah, I was stuck working, so,
I understand.
everybody else had fun.
Okay, anything else? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna say, if you wanna know when that's any city committee, council, work session meeting, it's on the website, it's always there. Other than that, I think we're ready to. Thank you all very much for being here, and have a lovely evening.